Hi everyone, today I'm reviewing the game Captain Blood. I was expecting a swashbuckling high seas pirate adventure, but honestly the game felt like stepping into a relic. So let's unpack why this game really does not deliver. And as always, if you have anything to add, then please do so using the comments. And of course, if you want more reviews like this, then please consider subscribing to my channel. So the biggest beef I have with this game is the combat and the gameplay in general. It all feels too clunky and too slow. And this shows particularly with combat. When you're swinging your sword, it's very unresponsive. The animation takes forever to finish, so after each attack you're stuck in that motion and you can't do anything about it. It's even impossible to defend yourself, so there's really not much going on there. And furthermore, the combat itself doesn't add any depth or variety. Unlike modern games, you have lots of combos, parries and special moves, but this game only has one or two basic swings and block. So there isn't anything flashing or anything tactical going on. It's the same thing over and over again. And it's not only the combat movement that is frustratingly sluggish. All the movement doesn't look good at all. Whether you're running around or land or you're trying to sprint or dodge, the character feels heavy and sluggish. And to make this even worse, it doesn't react on your movement to controls, they just don't respond fast enough, leading to unfair and stupid deaths. Another thing that really bugs me about this game is that it's so repetitive and so shallow. Your enemies, they are all the same. The same group of pirates, the same armor, the same attacks, there is no variation at all. So are at least the missions themselves any fun? Unfortunately no. Most quests boil down to go from point A to B, kill some generic enemies, grab some loot, and that's it. There isn't any puzzle solvings, there isn't any variety like stealth missions or treasure hunts or anything dynamic going on. Well, is there at least any fun to be had in the swords and in the upgrades and all the other stuff you might acquire throughout the game? Sure, you can buy new swords, you can get pistols and gadgets, but none of these things impact your combat style. They don't have any influence on how you would approach the game. Whether you use the legendary cutlass or a basic sword, it's all the same and the output is the same as well. So for me it felt, what's the point of upgrading if it doesn't add anything to the game? And because all of this, the game feels like a repetitive grind. There's no real progression and there's no real excitement going on. After I played for 3 hours, I was realizing I was doing the same kill and fetch quests over and over again. So yeah, there's not much going on there. Another thing that really bugged me are the technical issues. They really break the flow of the game. There are loads of bugs and loads of glitches which happen on the worst possible moments, making you lose immersion, and sometimes you have to restart because of them. And especially with some of the bigger fights, I felt that the game was stuttering really bad. And all this messes with the flow and with the timing. And it gets frustrating because it's not your skill but the game's performance that causes you to fail time and time again. I also had an issue with quest progress which doesn't always register. Sometimes I completed a mission objective, like collecting a key item or defeating some sort of boss, but the game didn't update my quest status. So I was stuck in limbo with my mission marker not moving forward, which forced me again to reload or to backtrack. And because this game has so many different bugs, it makes it hard to enjoy this game. And throughout the game there's lots of music. Unfortunately, the sound mix is poorly balanced, making story moments hard to follow or feel flat. One thing that was happening a lot during my gameplay is that with conversations, voices were often drowned out by loud environmental sounds like crashing waves or ship creaks or other stuff. And because of this imbalance, I was missing part of the story. And another issue which is related to that is that there are minimal or no subtitles. So when the voices were drowned out, I wasn't even able to read it because there weren't any subtitles. In the end, I found myself constantly adjusting the volume while I was playing the game. Sometimes it was hard to hear what people said, and if I cranked that up, then some of the ambient noises they would scream out really loud, so it was constantly going up and down. And now let's move to the story. I know when we're talking about pirate games, it has to be a little bit corny. All the cliches have to be in there, and I'm fine with that. That's one of the charm of this sort of games. But in this case, all my allies and all the other NPCs, they have zero personality or any interesting traits. The dialogues, they're so bland and repetitive, so it's all so flat. And the story itself is also rather weak. Instead of natural unfolding, it's pushing you through scripted events that feel artificial. For example, you suddenly have to face a villain boss for no reason other than the game says so. There's no build-up or any motivation to do so. There's no sense of freedom or any meaningful choices impacting the story. And that for me felt like a bummer. And of course, I had a lot of complaints already throughout this review. But here is the biggest one. It's the poor camera fix that kills visibility and navigation. The camera is always locked in awkward angles and you can't control it yourself. This makes moving around and fighting very difficult. In this case, because of all the restrictions, the fixed position often blocked my view. And during fights, when it really matters that you have clear visibilities, the angle zooms too close or shifts unpredictably. Sometimes it was showing the game from a weird angle in which I wasn't able to see most of my enemies. I was just swinging blindly because the enemy was off screen. I knew he was somewhere there, but I wasn't able to see him. And because of that, navigation and fighting becomes a guessing game. And all this makes the game way harder than it needs to be. It's a frustration. It's not really some element that enhances the game or adds difficulty to it. It's just plain frustrating. So my final thoughts. Well, in all honesty, there are too many issues to make the game worthwhile to play, at least in my opinion. First of all, there is a lack of polish, there isn't any creativity, and the outdated graphics and the wonky camera controls really ruined the experience for me. I feel that if you want a slick, engaging pirate experience with some meaningful gameplay and some kind of story going on, then it's not worth playing. But maybe if you're really into old school rough jams and you're really into pirate games, then yeah, then it's worth a look. Well, that's all from me. If you have anything to add, then please drop me a comment. And if you want to see more, then please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you all for watching and hope to see you the next time.